welcome. Thanks for coming. Again, I first met Jimmy in 2003. He was a brand new butter bar, and he was guest instructing at the jump master course that Alpha Company had put on underneath Colonel Allen. That was the first time that I heard his very distinctive, loud voice, but yet was somehow also slurred speech. And I thought about it. I was like, man, I've heard people say he had marbles in his mouth and stuff, but I figured it out. You get just enough of each word to understand what it is he's saying before he cuts that word off and moves to the next one. And he knows instinctively, this is how smart he is, he knows instinctively your brain is going to fill in those gaps. And so why waste all that time saying the whole word when you can just skip half of every word and say it just that much quicker. Jimmy also has, as you've heard, Jimmy has an uncanny ability to build rapport with our soft partners. I think it's because even across the language barriers, they're just as fascinated with Jimmy as we are. And even those who don't speak English can tell that his English is bad. One thing that stands out in my mind was in 2013, we went to Korea, and at the end of the exercise, we were in this big banquet hall, a little bit smaller than this, and it was just packed with all of us, all of the Americans and all of our Korean counterparts. And there was quite a bit of noise in there as the banquet was getting ready to get started. And there was Jimmy sitting over there, and he had all of his Korean counterparts sitting around there with him. And again, it was pretty loud in here, but then all of a sudden, it's really loud, and it's one person, and he's yelling at the top of his lungs just random syllables in rapid fire. I couldn't make out anything that was actually being said, and all the Koreans were they were dying laughing. And I was like, whoa, hey, we're going to need to cut Jimmy off, or this whole banquet's going to go south fast. That's when I found out Jimmy doesn't actually drink. So I was like, well, it has to be straight up insanity then that's causing this behavior. But the point of that is this, not that he's crazy.
I am.
But the point was, his counterparts were sitting around him with their focus directed right at Jimmy, and they were delighted by what they saw. And I saw this not just in Korea, but every place that I worked with Jimmy, he was able to draw that audience in and build that rapport like nobody else I've seen. But Jimmy's more than just an odd spectacle to behold. He builds trust and confidence with both non-US and US people, like really no other leader I've known. He does this in a very straightforward way through the knowledge in his head, the experience in his bones, and the genuine care and friendship in his words. Talk about his knowledge. Despite how he comes across to everyone, as you saw on some of the cards, he actually knows a lot of stuff, like high-level stuff. And like most Green Berets, though, you just need the conditions to be set right in order for that massive intellect to come to light. But Jimmy really is, he's a wizard of unconventional warfare, small unit tactics, and operations literally at every level. His experience, you heard all the countries listed. He's got a whole career dedicated to special operations. And, but of course, all of his experience circles back to one single theme. I think we've heard it a few times, 275.
No big deal.
No big deal. But that experience, I mean, that's a wealth of experience you can't just replicate. And then the care. He wants the mission to succeed, and he's always very serious about his Army job. He astutely identifies all the limitations within his own force, both the U.S. and the G forces. He understands the barriers to success that we usually, our higher level command, imposes on us. All you soft operators understand our biggest enemy oftentimes is ourselves. And he also understands the vulnerabilities and the critical vulnerabilities of the enemy. And he always presents this in a very clear, concise way that's easy for people to understand. I can think of many times in company meetings and whatnot where afterwards I was like, Jimmy would mention something and I'd be like, damn, why didn't I see that? It's so obvious now that Jimmy explained it. But what's cool about Jimmy is, and the benefit to having like someone like him on the team, is he's just happy to add value to the plan. He doesn't lord it over you because you didn't think of it. He doesn't, and he'll work extra hard if you just give him the opportunity, to listen to him, and he'll work his ass off for you. And one thing that stands out in this respect was when we were at SOMTC, it's a big mission training center down in Fort Bragg. It's a computer simulated exercise. This is prior to our mobilization at Afghanistan in 2019. He was the battle captain. So we have all this computer simulated chaos going all over, and everyone's focused on what they're supposed to do. And then Jimmy would stand up when he needed to, and he would just calmly, coolly say, "Attention in the jock." Everybody stopped what they were doing. Their focus, attention on Jimmy, and he would very clearly explain, "We've got this going on, we need to do this, we need to do that, get back going, get this going." And he'd sit right back down, and everybody would just do their job. And we'd get the mission done. So, I'll close with just a few random thoughts. He doesn't typically seek glory. He is truly a quiet professional. But if glory has to be taken, he is willing to take it. That's what he's right there. But Jimmy is one of the most dependable leaders that I've ever worked with. He's willing to pause his civilian career and his family life to go on unemployment when he's needed. Because 30 years ago, he signed a contract, and up until his last day today, he is willing to honor that contract, and he is ready to go down range in a moment's notice. And honestly, I don't know if we have a whole lot of people joining the service today that see it that way. Sorry. But it's that level of dependability that'll really truly be missed. I really enjoyed serving alongside you, Jimmy. And I'm thankful for everything you've done for us, the SF and SOF communities, America, and the military. So let's turn this page and get you retired.